Good evening and welcome to the 1581st meeting of the General Student Senate, the 8th meeting of the 46th session, which I now call to order. Notice that this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. Isn't it nice having a Senate meeting before the sun goes down? Maybe go at 50 times. Next I will call for, landing. Next I will read the meeting. The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on Marsh Island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation, where issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Mi'kmaq, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and the other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. The clerk will now call this.
Kyle Ricker,
Present.
Ray Vanderwood,
Present.
Cynthia Shawardan,
Excuse.
Ezekiel DeLorme,
Here.
Brian St. Lawrence,
Here.
Sam Fang,
Here.
Doreen Thompson,
Here.
Maggie Johnson, here. Casper Cowan,
Here.
Nathaniel Stanley,
Listening. Fingers crossed.
Daniel Brown,
Here.
Joshua Bone,
Excuse.
Juliana Dolan, here. Isabella Lemon Bread, here. Taylor Kearns,
Excuse.
Matthew Weber,
Here.
Scott Van Veen, here. Vassar Harvey, here. Brendan Stewart, here. Bo Bishu,
Here.
Darren Martell,
Here.
Zachary Kellogg,
Here.
Ethan Karate,
Excuse.
Hazel Sparks, here. Helen Bella,
Here.
Taylor Stanford, here. Jeremy Collmore,
Excuse.
Keegan Tripp,
Here.
Memphis Peterson,
Here.
Oliver Block,
Here.
Bill Lehman,
Here.
Elizabeth Oldfield, here. Abby Downer, here. Zoe Stankovitz, here. Riley Mills,
Here.
Dylan DeMerchant,
Here.
Alex Okaya, here. Jonathan Harper,
Excuse.
Lauren Depot. Zachary Woolworth,
Here.
John Guzman,
Excuse.
Aspalea,
Here.
Tyler Benubaya,
Excuse.
Danny Tanaka,
Here.
and Lori Sadako. Here.
I'm now looking for approval of the March 4th, 2025 minutes and the agenda. Senator Ricker.
I motion to approve the March 4th, 2025 minutes and stand up.
Second. Hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Next, we'll move into general good and welfare. Any non-member of the GSS. Any non-members may address the GSS for not more than 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sam Gordon. I'm representing Animal Club. We received funding a few weeks ago for our annual NISA competition, which took place in Penn State this year. The funding that we received was able to get us all the way down. We got to get some very nice hotel rooms this year, which was very thankful for us because last year was a little bit not as great, so we really do appreciate it. We just want to say a big thank you. Basically, our weekend was a 14-hour drive down to Pennsylvania, and then the following day, we started a judging competition. So we got to go see Penn State Agriculture Arena, which was really nice. They were really great hosts, so it made a really fun competition. We also got to do a quiz bowl, which is basically just a bunch of like facts and such so that we compete against other teams throughout the Northeast. And then following that, we ended the day with presentations. So each team from Maine had one presenter to give a presentation on anything affecting agriculture. We got the pleasure of bringing 4 teams, which is really great compared to some of the other teams that or schools that didn't bring as much. So again, we really do appreciate it. This is like really great to kind of network for our students. You get a lot of, like, hours just kind of being immersed in the community, so people can get like research opportunities and they can talk to other professors from other schools to kind of learn more about the world of agriculture, not just veterinary medicine. And then, yeah, sorry, we can end with our 14-hour drive back, but it was a really great weekend. We beat UNH. But yeah, we just want to give you guys a rundown as to where everybody went, and it was a really great weekend spent. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? President Tripp?
What was your personal favorite part?
I got to give a presentation on nematodes and the impact they have on our farming soil, which was really interesting, and it gave me a lot more confidence in my speaking, which I'm not so good at. So yeah, that's it.
You're doing great here. Thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you so much. Any other pieces for general good and welfare?
This is where I stand up, okay?
You're actually
Am I slated?
a little bit.
You tell me when.
Any other general good? And welfare? Seeing none, for new senators, officer appointments and resignation, Pete Stanley has resigned from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Senate seat, which means that there's one more seat open. Next, we'll move into club maintenance, starting with accessibility on campus here for preliminary writing. Well,
Hi, I'm just gonna introduce myself very quickly. I'm Madeline Myers. I will be the president of accessibility on the campus.
I'm really white, and I will be the vice president.
So accessibility on campus, I presented about this in the past. Accessibility issues continue to be something foundational and fundamental to students' experiences on campus. AOC's mission ultimately is to give students a safe space and platform to address concerns regarding accessibility. To give students a sense of community, belonging, place to feel seen and heard. We want to advocate for change and inclusion. We want to provide input on projects that require accessibility, which are most. There's a lot of, infrastructural projects that happen on campus that accessibility is kind of an afterthought, and that needs to be something that's taken into account at every level. So we want to engage the larger school community in a productive and all-encompassing manner, so everybody would be welcome to this, to discuss these issues and to share their personal experiences. We feel like that's really important. We want to educate and inform the community on accessibility rights. We want to talk about the ADA. We want to talk about what can we do to change things, really.
So why are we important? One major reason is that accessibility is a major issue on campus. From snow days to sidewalks, we're running into all sorts of problems. UMaine has an increasing population, so we have an increasing number of students who are requiring all these services. And then we can be a sounding board for all sorts of other groups, organizations, faculty, everything.
Yeah, and it's really important now, especially because accessibility has kind of been on the downtrend. We know that SAS has been moved to Rangeley Road, which is a largely inaccessible building and also a largely inaccessible place for students requiring services. So we would also like to be included as a rep board eventually, and to be able to bring people to present these issues, because having like real people in front of you telling you what's happening, what they're experiencing is how change should be approached. So that's kind of what we're doing.
great, thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Brinker?
How many members of the organization?
So usually we get around 10 to 15 to show up, but we have around 25 total.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Harvey?
What are some, like, if you're able to share current plans or things that you're working on currently?
Yeah, so we've been working on, one of our biggest things is creating a GIS mapping system of the campus that will highlight really, really big issues of accessibility. And that's kind of been ongoing for the past, couple of months, and trying to get into contact, but the person who does GIS is leaving. So we also, a big thing that we've talked about is the fact that a lot of handicap buttons aren't working properly, and so maintenance really needs to be done on those, and a lot of elevators are late to be serviced and registered. So those are kind of I can name as many, but I don't.
Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, the committee's recommendation is 4-0-0 to pass. Senator Martin.
I move to accept the committee's recommendation.
Here in a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? President Trevor.
So I've been in talks with Madeline for a while now. And long before that, whenever the Constitution was actually ratified, if you look into the rep board section, you'll see that student government is actually, it's written to have a accessibility type rep board in the Senate. But from what I understand, it has never happened. So I'm very excited to see this group finally coming through in this form. I'll be working with them in the background to make sure that they have everything that they need with the VPSO as well to kind of move into hopefully a rep board by the end of this semester. If not, hit the ground running with the next semester. So I encourage you to vote yes.
Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you. Next, I'd like to invite men's basketball for final recognition.
Alright, so yeah, basketball, Anthony, this is Connor. Right now, we're kind of just getting started. Home practice twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays from 9 to 10:30. We've got about 50 members right now. Kind of just looking to get started, order jerseys, schedule some games. We've got a couple scrimmages coming up after spring break with some southern schools.
Yeah, I mean, we started fundraising money already. We've raised almost $500 in like 2 weeks, but we are gonna be looking for money from student government as well. I'm not quite sure what the tiers are, but I think we're the lowest tier. Yeah, nothing really crazy. I mean, we're just here to help people make new friends and for freshmen to meet new people, get comfortable with campus and everything.
Good, thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Ricker?
Have you been talking to athletics and just making sure you're all good with the system?
Yeah, we're also, we hold practice at the pit. Just using our own equipment. We have our own balls and stuff, so yeah.
Senator Harvey?
You might have already said I just missed it. How many members do you have? And then also do you have a coach?
We have 15 members. We have like a student coach. He's not like really a coach. He's kind of
Volunteer.
Yeah, volunteers and have things, but not like a formal coach.
President Trevor?
What schools are you looking to play?
Right now, we're got a scrimmage with like Bowdoin College, Bates College, and then maybe traveling down to like UMass Amherst, UMass Lowell, schools like that.
Yeah, small schools, but drop the distance.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Dumont?
What are the fundraising events that you've done so far to? Right now, we're just doing like a raffle for, it was like $10 entry for $100 worth of scratch off tickets. We haven't drawn the winner for that yet, but
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Ricker?
do you expect to charge dues your methods like next semester in the future? Yeah, I mean, we didn't do the club day or the mall or whatever this year, but next year we should for sure. And we didn't really get any freshmen because of that, so hopefully we'll like to.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, the committee recommendation is 4-0-0 to pass. Senator Martin?
I move to accept the committee's recommendation.
Second. Here in a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Thank you, and that concludes club maintenance. Seeing none for club presentations, I'd like to invite our guest speaker for the evening, Dan McDonald, the Deputy Title IX Coordinator for UMaine and UMaine Machias.
Hi. How many of you know Heather Hogan? Oh, no, okay, so she's still alive, just took a different position, she's up in accessibility services, so full circle moment. I worked with the previous department here on, at the university in the Division of Student Life, and now work in Title IX Student Services. My office is literally across the hallway. There's no excuse for you to not drop by at this point. I now have eyes on every single one of you, okay? I have really good candy, I have really good services that I offer to students. You might think of my office as sort of the last stop resort when it comes to sexual harm or sexual violence, but I also work a lot with students who might be pregnant, parenting, or experiencing a pregnancy-related condition, which is the loss of a pregnancy, either by choice or naturally. So if you know anyone that falls into those categories, know anyone who would be of benefit to my services, send them my way. You can drop in on their behalf and make that connection. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We are gonna do a ton of programming, so just be on the lookout for that. At this point, what more would you like to know?
I know that you sent at least some of us an email regarding the block party for prevention, I believe.
Yeah, last Saturday in April, April 26th, it's a little early, so you're gonna have spring break, you're gonna forget. So when you come back in April, we're gonna do a whole month of programming around sexual assault awareness. The last Saturday of the month is our block party for prevention. So it's a fundraiser for rape response services in Bangor. And ultimately, we're looking to do that more in a carnival fair style. If you think of the concert for consent that happens in the fall welcome weekend, think of it sort of as a spring version of that is what we're hoping to do. So more to come with time as things sort of come up, but we're hoping to work with Student Gov. If you have the interest in the capacity to sort of plug that need and that mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we have a director of communications, and I'm sure we'd love to help circulate that when the time comes. We also have committees that are like specifically delegated for this kind of subject matter and student issues. And so when the time comes, just reach out and we'll put that through the right channels. I'm sure there's plenty of student groups that would love to participate.
I have one that's an English chair already.
Oh, excellent. See, we're already at conference. So, are there any questions for our guest speaker?
You guys at Title IX also handle issues related to like stalking and things on campus. Could you expand on those services?
Yeah, so we do stalking. If you experience a relationship or know of a relationship that has a lot of red flags, okay, we all might know them, we might know what they look like, we might have seen them. My office can really sort of help institute what are called supportive measures or stopgaps. So it's a non-punitive action or actions that we can take to sort of put on the books, this person needs to stop talking with this person, and if there are continued contacts, then there are measures or there are procedures in place that we then follow. That's part of our commitment to due process, but also it's a commitment to you as students to make sure that you get the services that you need. If that's academic centers, the gym, the dining hall, things like that. Answer your question better.
Any other questions for our guest speaker? President Frick.
I know it's kind of the topic at hand, but I'm curious on how your office is handling the developing things going on and how the communication is to your office from higher administration.
What I can answer is we take every day as it is. I work steadfast with my students. If something is reported to me, I want you to know that I work my butt off as soon as I know about it. I don't wait on things because I recognize that things can snowball really quickly. So if you know of something, see something, say something, and don't just say it vaguely. Tell me what happened, so I can actually intervene and actually support people that need it.
Any other questions for our guest speaker? Senator Sparks.
It's a sensitive topic and hard to talk about. Is there like an anonymous tip line?
Yes, so the UMaine Campus Eyes report is through the university police. That's one option. Student Life also has what's called the student referral page. And that's outside of the realm of the university police department, where you can sort of report to the deans. I have concerns about this person, and then whether you put your information is entirely up to your questions. And that's on the division of student body page.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for making the time. Yeah, Dan absolutely deserves the applause, so.
Wow. Hang out with my cat.
Alright, okay, thank you. That concludes our guest speaker series for the evening. So we will move into executive reports, starting with the president of UMSG.
All right, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's lead up to spring break is also going smoothly. Starting with some housekeeping, elephant in the room. I'm sure we are all now aware of the funding freeze that was announced today. I'm gonna drop an article in the chat. Just to, as something, a resource for you all to kind of get up to speed about what's going on. I'm not specifically endorse the opinions of the thing, but it's important that we're all on the same page. I intend to come back after spring break, having spoken with the administration with a more detailed report about kind of the immediate effects of what this will look like. So hold on for that. Additionally, I spent $39.01 on vigil candles for the Take Back the Night event from my executive fund. So I need to report on that. Old business, hiring updates. Currently, we have 2 applicants for FA, 2 for SO, 1 for SL, 0 for DOC, 3 for DOT, and 6 for clerk. The deadline is Friday at midnight to apply for those. I encourage you to consider applying if you haven't already. You still have a few days. These numbers aren't great. Positions I deem with inefficient applicants will probably remain open throughout spring break, but will close at the end, hard stop. The clerk seems to be very popular, so I don't think we'll have a problem with that. And I did request an email to go out to the student body from Student Life. From what I understand, it has not yet happened. That was a few weeks ago. We're working on it. But I'm going to start reaching out to specific departments as well, especially those that are very low on numbers. So keep an eye out for that. But again, word of mouth is always going to be powerful. So make sure you're telling people about that. New business. In case you are not aware, the student activity fee was raised. Yeah. I think that round of applause is absolutely warranted for all of your hard work and peer engagement to get this passed. This means, just a few updates on what this means. Number 1, I will be reappointing the AVPSC. So. Additionally, sport clubs will be able to come back and request the previous maximums of their tiers, which is super exciting. But what I want to reiterate is that this increase does not mean that we get to spend irresponsibly. And I look forward to all the good that that will provide next year. Okay, well, the next thing I was going to do was congratulate Vice President-elect Shelmerdine on her election. I'm super excited to work with her next year. I think she'll be an excellent chair of the Senate. And if you have not congratulated her, yeah, I encourage you to do so. And with that, that's all I have. Have a great spring break. I hope you take a breather. I know things are chaotic right now, but make sure you rest up so that we can come back and finish up the year strong. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. As for my report, I'm still actively working on the hiring for our administrative assistant. Hopefully by the end of the week, our hiring committee can come together, and my goal is by the Senate meeting, so 2 weeks from now, I will not only bring another job description revision for the administrative assistant, but also a resolution that's a nomination for a candidate. What that'll entail is we hire them for a temporary period of time so they can get paid for training, and then with that resolution, that'll essentially be the Senate giving the president permission to offer them a contract that will go into effect in the fall. So updates will come with that. Speaking of our administrative assistant, Jeff was pretty adamant that the only thing that he wanted for a retirement gift was for student government to build a better connection with the library exchange. And the opportunity that affords is there is all of the extra club materials in the student government office that have gone unplanned and don't really have a home. Not to mention all the boxes full of the literally hundreds of t-shirts that are in the conference chambers. So later this week, I plan on going and having a meeting with the Blackbird Exchange and all of those t-shirts, there's a bunch of jean jackets or denim jackets. There's a bunch of yarn and wool that they said they could use for their own events, and so that'll be like the first step in that. And that'll hopefully be a conversation I'm gonna keep up for the rest of the semester. And just to reiterate what President Tripp said, even if you aren't totally committed or dead set on being an exec next year, I highly recommend you to at least apply for those positions just to gain the experience, because us execs are also employees of a nonprofit, and given that you're all in student government, you will always be at least a little bit humanitarian minded. So that could be where careers take you, or at least internships or apprenticeships. So it's a valuable experience, and I highly recommend you. That concludes my reports. Next is the Vice President of Financial Affairs.
Hey everyone, so we are getting very close to the annual budget meeting, and as being said, UBC has gone through the initial rough draft of the annual budget with a couple things to refine, this upcoming Friday. But with that, everyone who had submitted the budget should have gotten an email from me saying what was amended, if anything, or saying that your budget was approved. If you have questions about it, please reach out this week so that we can get any concerns addressed before the spring break. Besides that, I have some leftover work to do on the taxes for the annual budget, but then we'll be pretty set and stuff. So for today, we are starting unallocated, it's $52,722.80. We will be hearing from Maine Outing Club, who I'll elaborate more on why this is a new business and not consent agenda when we get to it. American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronomics for $2,265.53. And the Redneck Club for $1,220 in the report.
Next is the Vice President for Student Organizations, which I have that report. Hello, everyone. I am unable to be at Senate tonight due to another commitment. As a reminder, I have office hours all week, including this Friday, for those who are interested in the VPSO position. As for SOC tomorrow, there are 2 groups that I know who will be attending, though I am still waiting to hear back on other groups I have met with recently. These groups are the Entomology Club and JVP. I also wanted to update everyone on some changes to the preliminary recognition application. Colleen Fraser and I updated the form with more questions in regard to the purposes of clubs on campus and how they see themselves maintaining their presence on campus to prevent more groups from starting than becoming inactive. If anyone is interested in seeing these questions, let me know and I will send them in the Senate chat. We felt these were necessary to prevent a bit of the overlap we are starting to see with upcoming groups, and I am likewise almost done updating club forms and have not received any more club storage applications. End of report. Next is student interns.
Hi, everyone. The movie ticket guy did not get back to me about how many movie tickets were used last week, which is strange, but as soon as I know that number, I'll drop that in the group chat. The Ricky Montgomery show, we have 234 people signed up, which is less than ideal in my opinion. But from here on out, we will be doing regular tabling, because that seemed very effective today. So keep an eye out for us at regular tables and not just in that booth tucked away from everybody. I've been getting a lot of like, not people like directly telling me, but like through like the grapevine telling me that the campus groups thing isn't working. And if people are having that problems and tell you that, please tell them to email me so I can add them to the list. It's a simple fix, but I just need to know like who's having the problem so I can add them. ABPSC halls, local band show went well. The bands were great and people seem to have a great time. Additionally, I created the Senate playlist and we didn't get to hear it today, but it's there. And if y'all want to look it up, you can see it. And if you haven't filled it out or filled out the form, fill it out so that your music can get on there. And end of report.
Thank you. Vice President of Student Leadership.
Yearbooks, everyone, please submit things if you haven't yet. On that topic, this is the last week I will accept bios, so if you've not submitted a bio and don't want your bio to be the one that SLC made today, which you don't, I promise you don't. You should send it to me by Friday. Otherwise, it will be that one. I'm working on some alumni newsletter pieces for the foundation to distribute, and we'll be wrapping up the yearbook this next week. So if you have input for what you want to see included, let me know. Or if you want your pet in the yearbook, send me pet pictures. I'm also sending out the clubs and org officer questionnaire tomorrow. And everyone had a great last week before spring break. Yay! And a report.
Thank you. Advisor to student government.
Just hope everyone has a great break and relaxes, and we'll see you next 2 weeks.
Great, thank you. Any questions for the speakers? Representative Blair?
Question directed at VP Oldfield. Are we allowed to see what bio you come up for us before we try to say what?
I say no. If you were not able to submit your bio in time, you're stuck with what you get.
Well, they're not mean.
No, not mean, and they're accurate. They're just probably not how you would have written it yourself.
I'm disappointed. Senator Marcy.
Well, question for VP Oldfield. If we do send in a bio, can we see what you wrote for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Ricker?
Question for VPFA, just clarify, because the student activity coming to unallocated.
Do you mean the new?
Yeah, like this fall semester, I mean.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Okay, so this fall semester, when the new wave of student activity money comes in, from students staying in the student activity, when does the process of it?
Hannah's been contacting the office and we haven't heard anything back, but I actually did bring that up today, so hopefully we'll have an answer probably right after break.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Thompson?
Question for BPSC Lehman, can you drop the Spotify playlist link in the Sunday chat? Thank you.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Kang?
Question for President Tripp. What do you consider a not substantial amount of applications?
I would like at least 3, if you want my honesty. I think that we have like qualified candidates, but I don't think keeping it open, truly what I would do is I would keep it open to the end of spring break and then do my best this week to make sure departments are touching base with people. But I think 3 would be the goal for all of them. At the very least, if you recall last year, we had up to 6, 7, 8, but a lot of that is probably due to the fact that the advertisement hasn't gone to the student body, which I'm, working on.
Any other questions to the speakers? Vice President Oldfield?
I guess this would be more of a point of order, but Banana Tea Bears did 2 hours ago send me an email about
He did?
hiring, yeah.
Okay.
But it was like 2 hours ago, so it doesn't happen,
Okay.
yeah. But it has gone out now.
Any other questions for the speakers? Representative Demolo?
This is more of a comment to President Tripp's point. In regards to the funding freeze, I'd just like to make a comment that the graduate student government as well as the UMSG Graduate Workers Union is also, we're really keeping our finger on the pulse of this. So this is something that's really of concern to us, especially for the graduate workers, because this directly affects funding for graduate assistants. So I kind of see a sense of solidarity because this is a big deal and we're all in it together. So
thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into periodic reports, starting with the faculty senate student representative.
Tomorrow will be the next faculty senate meeting from 3 to 4:30 in the Wells Conference Center. If you're interested, it's an open meeting, so anyone can go, just like these meetings. My report after spring break, we'll go over that. It's your report.
Thank you. University of Maine Board of Trustees student representative.
Yes. It's a 2-part video because it gave issues, so here's part 1.
Hi everyone, I hope you're well. For my report this week, I attended the senior admin meeting with President Tripp and VP Peterson. We discussed, among other things, my goal of bringing the board members to come eat in the main dining hall, just at their next board meeting potentially, their next board meeting in Orono. President Tripp and I had a meeting scheduled with student trustee Will Kemler. He unfortunately was sick and attended this board meeting virtually, so I'm working with him to reschedule. In terms of the actual board meeting notes, there were quite a few speakers in citizen comment from the grad union. They spoke on working conditions and pay. similar comments to the last couple of times that the Grad Workers Union has come to the board. There were also quite a few speakers from JVP on adopting the ADA official definition of anti-Semitism. Then in the President's Roundtable, women's basketball teams are basically just really impressive at all of the UMaine campuses. USM has earned a Carnegie Research Endowment. The Can-Am dog sled race has happened. The UMFK ski teams are all competing in Bend, Oregon at the ski and snowboard national championships. Maine law students are going to an international security conference in DC where Maine law graduates are presenting. The UMS investments in fossil fuels are down to 4.3 million from the original 13.8 million, which was in 2016. The policy on free speech that I discussed after the last board meeting was adopted as it had been amended.
And here's part two.
There were not any substantial citizen comments on this policy like there were the last time it was discussed. But I did try to put together just a summary of the things that changed effectively, in my opinion, but that policy is available on the internet to anyone. It's policy 212. But what I identified was it specifies that the university cannot violate the law, defame individuals, or objectively threaten, harass, or infringe on privacy or confidentiality in their restriction of free speech. It tightens the standard for restricting free speech by emphasizing an objectively threatening interpretation rather than a subjective threat of free speech, or like use of free speech. Mutual respect and civility are no longer limits for restricting free speech. So essentially, to limit speech, it must be objectively threatening, is the language that they use. Highlighted that faculty and staff and the university must express any opinions respectfully and courteously, but their opinions and their free speech is not limited. And then it adds explicit language stating that no member of the university community can obstruct, harass, or interfere with another's speech, even if they find it offensive. Then regarding the federal executive orders, the board notes that the system did join the first 22 nationwide university systems to enter in a TRO in standing ground against federal grant withholdings from the federal government, but noted that last year the system did accept $226 million in federal grants, and so they're very mindful of how delicate that money is and how important it is to the system. And then lastly, the Osher Music School is going to be purchasing 28 new Steinway pianos. And the total investment in the music school to becoming fully a Steinway school is $28 million. All right, that is all. I hope you have a good break. End of report.
Fair election practice of commission.
Hi, everyone. Election week concluded last week, and it was very successful in my opinion. I have the numbers for write-ins for each candidate and so on. If anyone is interested, I can show you. And I am sure most of you have seen the Instagram over President Tripp's report, but Keegan Tripp won the presidential race. Cynthia Schummerdine won the presidential race, and the referendum question passed with a 72% margin. Again, if you have any questions or want to see the official report, just let me know. End of report.
Thank you. Student legal representatives.
Hi, everyone. Last week, Sean and I met and we reviewed his usage reports, which are up to date through February of 2025, which are on his Student Legal Services website, if you want to see them. They don't include the additional work that he does for UMSG, like research, continuing legal education credits and other objects tasks, but they do give you a look at all the important work that he does. On March 24th from 12 to 2, Sean will have a table representing student legal services at the commuter and non-traditional student appreciation event. And he anticipates spending most of his time answering your more tenant questions, handing out business cards, and promoting student legal services. And on March 26th from 10 to 2, he will also be attending the Careers in Law and Justice Fair to further advertise student legal services and talk about what he does as an attorney. End of report.
Thank you. Representative to the Graduate Student Senate. Orno Town Council liaison.
Okay, yesterday's meeting, council approved dedication of a bench in Webster Park in memory of Kathy Field, who was an alum of the Maine Business School and office manager for Orno School Department for 30 years. The council approved of a mini grant to Joffrey Gordon for public social events focused on art and design, and similarly, the town also approved of a mini budget to Isabel Costello, the class in 2025 council at the University of Maine for a gift of an outdoor classroom to foster environmental education in Orno. The city also directed the town manager to enter an agreement with Fraser Signal Technologies, VZ, for signal improvements on Main Street and Pine and Bennett Road, for the cost of $58,190. For anyone who's been here for more than an hour knows that that's generally the problem area downtown. They're basically gutting it and rewiring all the lights, and adding some new features. Lastly, the town councilor, Dan Demerit, also invited me to a meeting about Orno Festival Days, which is happening in the fall. We're going to Orno Brewing Company in April. So yeah, that's it, and report.
Thank you. Old Town City Council liaison.
No report.
Representative of Military and Vet Affairs, does anybody have that report? Seeing none, Director of Communications.
Hello, I'm still having technical difficulties with the YouTube account, but I'm hoping to have that figured out by the end of the week. I also want to remind everyone to please upload to the Meet the Senator Monday folder. And I think you guys should apply to DOC because it's a really fun job and a report.
Thank you. Director of Technology.
Not much to say besides I am cramming for an exam that's tomorrow, so my office hours today have been somewhat more shifted to just simply Thursday or Friday. So if anyone needs me, give me an email, I guess. Swing by. All right, and a report.
Thank you. Does anybody have the security representative report? Seeing none, Under Director of Research Liaison. Does anybody have that report? Seeing none, are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Micho.
Question for FAPC Chair, saying this, how do people vote in person?
In person, there were 12 counts that were voted, or 12 votes counted. Yes.
Senator Micho.
This is a clarification for, well, she's not here, the Board of Trustees to representative. Did she say that the music school is getting 20 grand pianos? Or did I just hear that?
I think it's at 28 p.m.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Which would probably be much more than that, if there is, sorry.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none.
Actually, this is not really a question, but it's just a point of information. I know that the BOT, Olivia has been working very hard in the background to stay up to date. Those meetings are not easy to sift through. But she's always available for follow-up questions through her email. I don't know if we've really made that clear, but if you really do have any follow-up questions, please reach out to her. She'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into reports of standing committees, starting with policy and procedure.
No report.
Membership. Does anybody have that report? We'll circle back to that because I think I've been actually, academic affairs.
No.
Services. Does anybody have that report? Seeing none, political activism. Does anybody have that report? I just thought I'd have more time.
I don't have it, but I have something to say. Breaking news, House Republicans passed a spending bill to avert this government shutdown until September 2025.
As in federal government?
Correct.
A continuous, was it a continuing resolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to DC next week.
Government's not shutting down on Friday, so.
Thank you, Lori.
I mean, it's kind of political activism-ish.
Yeah, absolutely.
World event.
Okay,
Yeah.
as for the membership report, shout out Senators Van Beek and senators who helped tonight. Thank you so much for helping me if I couldn't be in attendance. Any questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we move into reports of special committee, starting with student mental health.
He's a Home event is once again going to be Wednesday, March 26th. That's the week we get back from break. You should go to that, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Wade Center. End of report.
Thank you. Food and dining affairs,
No report.
and undergraduate student symposium.
So, I don't have a ton, but, we kind of went over about, the schedule at the symposium will be, there's it'll start around 8, we'll get there, it'll be kind of split into 2 different sections where there's a set of, I don't have the exact reports from the specific colleges, but it'll be undergraduates from a set of colleges. And then graduates from a different section will flip to both, so you'll get a bit of both for both undergrad and graduates throughout the day. We don't have a keynote speaker yet, but we're in talks with who goes on at the last Cougar meeting. There's also a Cougar meeting tomorrow. We'll get probably more information about and we'll get more details down. But for everyone who should be interested is a lot of volunteer opportunities for both, like for anyone who needs hours or anything. So if we have that out on the website, I can also send a thing with a QR code into the chat if you want that. And again, anything.
Okay, are there any questions for the speakers? Supervisor Sadako?
Just to follow up that, you can also send your volunteer request to the Bodwell Center and they'll post it on their site for their regular volunteers if you want to.
Any other questions for the speakers? I do have a question for the symposium rep. Has there been any discussion about the situation?
So that was brought up by Senator Bone yesterday. There's no update on it yet. Again, it'll probably be a large tomorrow. I'll have it. Mr. Trent has more to say about that.
President.
I just sidebarred with Lori about this, which is why I walked over there just a second ago. I'm going to follow up with the dean about it next year.
And he and Senator Bone could be like CC'd on that, like.
I'm gonna follow up in person and then refer
Okay.
to Josh. Okay.
Any other questions to the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into representative board reports, starting with commuter and non-traditional students.
All right, everyone, I hope that your week is doing very good because my week is crazy. So I will at least start off the first bit is that I'm calling on all of my office hours on Wednesday tomorrow because I will be leaving for Manila, Philippines Thursday at 7 a.m. So if anyone has questions or any little tidbits that he's discussing, I only ask you guys, please reach out to me tomorrow because I'm dedicating as much as my bandwidth to that day. So there's that. In terms for club leadership and things going on for the future, there have been some changes going on in terms of just situations going on with leadership right now. Everything's going fine as of right now. But it's definitely gonna make things a little bit interesting going into the rest of the semester and 2025-2026. And speaking of that, we are still holding our elections and interest for a position within CANS. I highly recommend it to anyone who's living off campus or has not had a sort of normal experience, normal as in that you lived with your parents for a year while you're attending school. If you're in a Bengal resident or a resident, anyone who is, outside the typical realm of a college student, I highly implore you to reach out and apply or at least sort of express interest in it. So far as right now, I don't think anyone has really completely expressed interest in it. So we're really looking for members. I myself and President McKenzie are both gonna be graduating. So again, it's for this next year, it's really, important that we're keeping this organization going. Speaking of that, I am at least starting off with a little bit of plans, to finish up the constitutional change and setting that into BPSO, preferably by the end of break, so they will be definitely getting that, just trying to get that out of the way, and any necessary documents, I am hoping, to have them preserved and protected, because I just had an announcement yesterday that, the documents that we have had for Kansas history had only been from last year, and Kansas had been around since like 1999. So there's a lot of stuff that has been lost, so I'm making sure to have that all settled up. And one final thing, just for just anything in general, I will be checking my emails while I'm in Manila. Granted, it is gonna be 14 hours ahead, so when you guys are waking up, I'm just gonna be going to sleep. But I will be checking as much as I can and keeping on top of stuff, so. For things going on, for spring, after spring break, we have, Cannes Appreciation Week, basically it's little events. Around the student union, and two of the first events will be off campus. I will be dropping that little picture on the Google Meets for anyone who's interested. They seem pretty fun, and as the faculty, not faculty, the student legal representative had noted, Sean will be there, so if anyone would have him, he's a great guy and he works off very, very hard. So, and report.
Honors College Advisory Board, Interfraternity Council, does anyone have that report? Does anyone have the panel on a council report?
I don't have the panel report, but I can tell you that Alpha is doing mac and feeds at OBC on Thursday, and it's the best event of the year that they do, so.
Student Athletic Advisory Council.
No report.
And Senior Class Council.
So somebody beat me to the punch and kind of shared what our class gift is going to be. That's okay, because he also shared the good news, right? So our class gift is going to be, and the details are still being determined, but it is going to be in an outdoor kind of classroom, the 4-H kind of program just down the street. There's the 4-H program that's kind of right behind Terrell House. So we're working in collaboration with them, the town of Orono, and some other parties to kind of orchestrate an outdoor classroom. Some of that will be funds that we donate, some of that will be us doing volunteer work to actually build things. We'll see how that goes. And then some of it will be other things. I don't know. We're still working on ironing out all the details about outdoor classroom. And we're super excited about that. I think it's really great to get back to the community. This is going to be a really great opportunity for K through 12 students in the community, but also college students looking to gain kind of leadership and opportunities and educational opportunities. So other than that, we are getting ready to launch a raffle with all kinds of different things from local businesses. We've been tabling in the union and will continue to do so this Wednesday, 11 to 1 or 11 to 2, with some sweet treats. So stop by on this Wednesday and Friday. And then we are currently working on finalizing senior week events. And we just opened up an apparel sale form that we were partnering with the bookstore to do. We're offering crew necks, t-shirts, and steins. I'll put the link to that form in the Senate chat. And we will be tabling at the graduate fair, which will be on Wednesday, March 26th. So if you're a senior, mark your calendar for that. And only 61 days till graduation. So seniors, enjoy your last spring break. We come back to church and we're ready to finish strong and moving forward.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into community association reports, starting with Jack. The only thing to report was that the emergency meeting that was supposed to be, I believe, last Thursday, was not held due to the conflicting county president state of the university. Next is Wildstone.
So first, I just want to add an informal note to my official report, which is that we live in a very interesting time. And if you ever think there's anything either positive or negative that you think is pertinent or relevant to our club, feel free to reach out to me. We've been talking with a lot of people about a lot of things, but we can't always hear everything. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. For my formal report, in writing, these preparations for the drag show are going great. We have 8 student performers confirmed, technically 9, if you count Bananas the Bear. And 3 local professional performers and our host Carrie the One, and we're just working on remaining logistics, coming up for our show on April 5th. And report.
Are there, does anybody have the ISA report? Go ahead.
I don't have a report, but I do have like information to share.
You can, if it's relating to ISA.
Yeah. So as, I wasn't in attendance for last week, but we had the, collaboration with the Writing Center, and as far as I heard, it went really well. In terms for future meetings, we sent out like an impromptu poll because it's gonna be spring break and a lot of people are leaving and we meet so late in the day. We're just gauging interest to see if people will be coming. It'll just be like little food and refreshers just for that. For the rest of the semester, we are almost fully booked for meetings. We have a lot of country presentations that are gonna be going on. India, Iran, Scotland, despite the sky. So if anything, please come because I'm gonna be making a lot of food. We're also gonna be having our grad dinner. This is gonna be happening on April 11th to celebrate those within the IC community and their graduation to going on to the big blue world for things. And we will also be holding our elections in a couple of weeks. I forget the dates. But stay tuned for that. Again, if anyone who is an international student and are interested in doing ISA, it's a great program. People are wonderful, and you can get to have fun and just share with what this organization is to the rest of the university. And yeah, and report.
Any questions for the speakers? Seeing none, I'm now looking for a motion to suspend the rules to consider new business item 19B. Senator Dorn.
I move to suspend the rules and with this to consider. I don't have this.
EBC 20.
EBC 20.
Second.
Hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? I know I'm not supposed to debate, but it's because our guest like has other commitments, so I just want to do this for him. Seeing none, all those in favor, all opposed, all abstaining, the clear majority that passes. So with that being said, I'd like to invite the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics here requesting $2,265.53.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for moving this up, and it's not usual, but I do volunteer at the concert going to the hall. So my name is Ian Dowdy. I'm the treasurer of the AIAA Club, or the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. We are planning to compete in the National Design Build Flag competition in Tucson, Arizona on April 10th through 13th. This competition brings together the top aeronautical and aerospace engineering students around the world. There's international schools that compete, including Japan and Hong Kong, and then the top US schools as well. We plan to bring 7 total team members, and that's including 2 freshmen, along with 5 seniors. So as far as what we've done so far, we submitted a proposal last semester and it was accepted for the 2nd time in school history. And then this will be the first time UMaine actually goes to the competition, as the last time was during COVID. For the planes, we've created a prototype so far as like a proof of function, and now we're on to building the competition aircraft out more like a strong material. This last one was out foam. So lastly, we submitted a 60-page report or final design report to the AIAA organization, and that would count as part of our competition score. For funding, the Department of Mechanical Engineering has funded the fabrication of both the prototype and the competition aircraft. MSEC has pledged $2,000 to cover part of the travel costs, and then we were looking to UMSG for the remaining part. Some items that we need for funding would be flights, rental cars, and hotels. And then in conclusion, we're all really looking forward to going to this event. I know it's really exciting for me as a senior, and then I just have to thank you all for consideration of our club.
Our pleasure. Are there any questions for the speaker? Senator Graywood or Vanderwood, excuse me.
Do you guys have like sophomores and juniors, or is it just seniors and freshmen?
Yeah, so we had low numbers last year. I was part of 4 juniors that the group went to, and we built it with 5 additional freshmen and then a sophomore.
Any other questions for our guest speaker or speaker? Senator DeLorme?
How's the final design coming together?
It's good. So we're in the Furlan design suite, and right now we're just in the process of making our wing right now. And I'm part of the AIAA capstone in there for mechanical engineering, and a lot of work, but it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Senator Ricker?
If you had to guess, how many students are competing at this conference total?
There's 60 teams that go, and it's typically 5 to 10 people per team, so 300 to 600.
Senator Sparks?
What kind of fundraising have you done?
So we've mainly reached out to the Department of Mechanical Engineering, MSEC, UMSG. I work at Compotech in Brewer. We reached out to them, and then we're also doing bake sales and other just normal fundraising activities.
Senator Thompson?
Sorry, I missed it. Can you remind me where the conference is?
Yeah, so it's in Tucson, Arizona, and that's April 10th to the 13th.
Any other questions from the speaker? Senator Ricker?
Just to clarify, the April 10th to the 13th, does that include the travel or does that not include the travel?
That is only the competition, so we're planning on leaving a day early, and then I unfortunately have a test the 14th, so we'll see if I can get that moved back. If not, or at least it's not just me, it's other people, but we will likely be coming back on the 13th if that's not.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
700 opt to pass.
Senator Martin?
I move to accept the committee's recommendation.
Second. Hearing and thinking, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? Senator, oh, excuse me. Why am I having such a bad? Senator Weber.
I know this is a little bit larger than a lot of stuff we have sent through previously, but they've done a lot of funding outside of us, and we're kind of the last but, and it's also, again, this is the first time they will be going out there. So this is not only huge for them, but also like, for the school in general, such an important event. For
Thank you, and pardon my stroke, Senator DeLorme.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just getting to hear some of a little bit of testimony from groups that we've already sent on trips. Not similar to this in the same disciplines, but I think it's very impactful and it's something that genuinely can change the trajectory of people's lives. Yeah, I think this is something that we definitely consider.
Senator Sparks.
First of all, this is really cool. It sounds great. Second of all, can we get a breakdown in the room behind it?
Sure. Alright, so they're requesting $1,750 for their airplane or for their flights. Which is $250 per person, which is within our and then the remaining $550.56 would be going towards lodging. And all of choice lodging. We're not covering rentals. I think there's a slight misspoke. Is that what you were the question? Okay.
President Tripp?
And to build off on that, all of this falls in, all the numbers fall into the precedence of our maximums for things like this. So it's well within reason.
Any other points for debate, Senator Ricker?
I have a question for the speaker, if that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, are you willing to come back to Senate some Tuesday after the conference and just talk about how the conference went?
Yeah, definitely. Be awesome.
Yeah, if this does pass and get approved, you'll get probably an email from either myself or our administrative assistant to help us get. Any other points for debate, Senator or Representative Demerson?
This, I should have asked earlier, but how much total was the whole trip with what was already secured for funding, just so it gives everyone an idea?
Do you want just travel costs or do you also want built in the plans?
Like this whole cost, and it could be like a guesstimate.
Total is approximately 7,000. Maybe 75.
Any other points for debate? Senator Pang?
Question for VPFA Block. Was this number cut down on all of UBC or is this what they brought forward?
That was what they brought forward.
Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Thank you so much. Pack your sunscreen, I grew up around that area and it's like already like 90 degrees, so.
Yeah,
And
there'll be
that's-
a little bit of shock to the system.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. With that being said, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, we'll move into our 5-minute recess. Senator Whitmer.
I motion to strike the 5-minute recess in the agenda.
No. I don't hear a second, so that motion will. 5-minute recess, we will reconvene. We will now reconvene. Seeing nothing on the consent agenda and nothing in unfinished business, we'll move into new business. Senator Ritter.
I motion to strike the agenda.
I don't think that's possible. Wait. Next, we will consider 46S EBC 22 for the outing club requesting $801.70. Outing club, if you want to step up to the podium.
Maine Outing Club?
Yeah.
We are representing Maine Outing Club, I'm Tyler, the current president.
That's the treasurer.
We are requesting funding for new gear for our club, such as sleep systems, like backpacks and tents, 0-degree sleeping bags, and foam sleep pads. We do a lot of winter camping and, it's very critical that our members have access to protective gear when we're asleep overnight. A lot of our very popular trips are backpacking trips, and we would like to continue doing more backpacking trips, so it's critical that we have lighter sleep systems for that.
Yeah, right now, in our club inventory, we only have one 0-degree sleeping bag. And I don't know if anyone's sleeping outside this winter, but it's been really cold. So even 0-degree bags are getting close to not cutting it, but a 0-degree bags give a really good range of what we can, or what time of year we can go out. So yeah, current stuff, we have like 15-degree, 20-degree, 30-degree, and that's just in the winter months, so it's not cutting it.
Our tent situation are very large, cumbersome, Walmart sleeping tent systems, and those are not suitable for backpacking. And our sleeping pad situation are old, degraded sleeping pads that no longer hang. So it's critical we have those as well. One of the big things that our club provides for its members is access to gear and traveling to the Maine wilderness. It's a great chance for people, humane students, to get outdoors without having to buy expensive gear for themselves. That's what we provide.
And the gear that we have like picked out specifically are well under the market average. Sleeping bags we're looking to get are about, I think, $80 a pop, and a normal 0-degree sleeping bag from $200 to $500. Tents we are getting are about $180, and tents normally for backpacking tents, like saying that like $400 to $700 range. And even the sleeping pads are like significantly, like, I think about $40, a lot less expensive than the market average.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Vice President Blanc?
So let me clear some confusion. This total request is actually $1,529.70. However, there is an allocation in our budget for outdoor clubs. The remaining balance of that is $728, which would be applied to this request if you approve it. But that leaves the remainder of $801.70, which would be drawn from the unallocated. But that's why it's presented in this manner.
Any questions from the speaker? Senator DeSiebert?
Have you guys done any fundraising?
Yeah, so last semester we had a year raffle where we Yeah, we had a gear raffle, we also had a GoFundMe earlier. So.
We reached out to multiple outdoor gear companies and they sent us gear to be used in the raffle to raise money.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Ricker.
Yeah, do you know the last time you got sleeping bags and these type of sleeping bags you were requesting?
Well before our time or any time that we know.
At least 5 years.
Senator Tom.
Where's your favorite place to camp, both of you?
I like going up to Baxter State Park, near Millinocket, which is a really cool, off-road trail that leads to, one of the ponds there, and it's really beautiful. Love that.
I hate to say it, but it's in New Hampshire. But Maine is a close second. I spend most of my time, probably, yeah, like the Carabas Valley Sugarloaf region, so.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Thompson.
So just to clarify, 0 degree sleeping bags were not in the big gear allocation from UBC last year?
No.
Any other questions for the speaker? Senator Vanderwood.
Do you guys plan on buying individual tents or still group tents?
So these tents that we're getting are gonna be 2 and 3 person tents.
Senator Warren.
With like the more affordable options that like you guys were looking at, do you think those will still have like the longevity of like lasting the same amount of time as the other like more expensive options?
Yeah, so we have purposely picked out these brands. They have lifetime warranties and they just have really good reputations.
The tents specifically are Pariah Outdoors. They're known specifically, the whole company, for lifetime guarantees. The sleeping bags are made by Teton. I have one, the exact same one that I've been using for the past 14 years.
Any other questions to the speakers? President Tripp.
I first want to commend you guys on providing a really awesome opportunity to students year in and year out. I mean, the outing club is something that we do not stop hearing about from students. That doesn't surprise you. I've been to a meeting, you guys have crazy turnout. So just congratulations on that and your continued efforts on that. I know you've been in this goal for a few years, so thanks for sticking with us. More of a fun question. What is your favorite winter trip memory in your years here?
Favorite would probably be last year's Bigelow trip. It was almost perfect conditions. It was a very difficult hike, harder, I think, than Potato, but it was just very beautiful. And then this year's Bigelow trip, which was last weekend, was my most challenging hike I've ever done. We had a lot of snow. I was post-holing up to here for most of the hike. It was very difficult, but very enjoyable.
Yeah, I would say probably like last year's big hike as well. It was the first time I realized that it gets really cold up here. I'm originally from New Jersey, so we don't get the crazy cold, but we were above tree line and I dropped it to cover my face and my whole face was like bright white and it was super fun though. I mean, I was like, and then the moment I was just sucked, but looking back, I was like, this is super fun. So I'm always looking to do more. Thank you.
Any other questions for our speakers? Vice President Woolfield.
Do you guys have plans to make sure that you manage and like retain all the gear you guys are collecting? Because I know that has been an issue in the club.
The issue in the past was that we didn't have one place to store all the gear. It was stored at all of the officers' houses and in their garages or their trunks in their cars or their dorms. So everything was everywhere and it was very difficult to keep track of where everything was. But now we have a storage unit and everything is in there and categorized and we have shelving. So, yes.
Any other questions for our speakers? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
The 700 opt to pass.
Senator Dorn.
I move to accept the committee's recommendation.
Hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority of that. Thank you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting or you can head out, totally up to you. Next, the Senate will consider 46S EBC 24, the pre-veterinary club for $1,220.
Hi, I'm Hannah Jones. I'm the vice president of the that club. I'm Jessica. I'm the social media coordinator.
And we're here to request money for a trip to Tufts Veterinary School. It will be an overnight trip. We plan to leave on Friday with a group of 15 members. We will be taking a van down and a personal car to accommodate all 15 of those people. We plan to stop at the Tufts Veterinary School where we will meet with John Chenier, who is the admissions director of the school. We have been in close contact with him for the last 2 years. We visited, we made, to talk to our club, and the way going down to meet with him, he plans to give us a tour of the veterinary school, and he's also offered to put together a panel of different members of the school, which the panel will be a networking opportunity for the members, and also just a good opportunity to see the school in general.
And then the next day, we're gonna go over to the Stone Zoo. At the zoo, we're hoping to provide an opportunity for the members to gain more like knowledge on what career opportunities there are in zoo medicine. We're currently working with the educational program coordinator there to kind of set up a program that's more geared towards animal care and health management, to kind of gear towards more towards like the veterinary aspect.
And so the funding will be for the van that will need to rent to go down there, and we'll room and board for the members.
And then the price for the tickets per person for the zoo, as well as the additional cost for the education program.
Great. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Gilmore?
What have you guys done so far for the funding for this trip?
Yeah, so we have about $200 in fundraising so far that we have for the trip, and we plan to use that to cover the gas to get down there.
Senator Sparks?
You said you're going down on Friday. Is that this Friday?
No.
Okay.
It's in April.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
April 4th to April 5th.
Any other questions for the speakers? Senator Ricker?
Pure curiosity, but are there many veterinary schools in Maine?
So there are no veterinary schools in Maine. This is the closest veterinary school to here.
Tufts is actually the only vet school in the New England area.
Senator Sparks?
Where is Tufts?
So North Grafton, Massachusetts, it's about, it's outside of Boston.
It's like right near Worcester.
Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
700 opt to pass as amended.
Senator Weber?
Motion to accept the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any points for discussion? Vice President Wolfield?
I just want to congratulate you guys. This is a very well put together trip. I would say one of the programming that you guys have planned is really impressive. And so I just wanted to give you a congrats on that, because it's really nice to see so much thought put into one of these trips.
Yeah.
Any other points for discussion? Any points for debate? Senator Sparks?
What was the amendment?
The amendment was slashing gas and club dinner, which is stuff that we just can't fund via our policies.
Any other points for debate? President.
Maybe just a fun fact, since we just talked about it, UMSG is not able to pay for gas, period. And we also can't pay for food beyond, is it 15 miles from campus? 50 miles from campus, which is a weird, specific policy that has always been part of our stuff, so.
Any other points for debate? Senator Dewan?
Does this amount cover everything else, like, that won't have to come out of pocket for the students that are going to, like, is this? The food and the gas, we don't even have to do anything.
Yep, everything else is still.
Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Thank you. You're welcome to stay or go, totally up to you. That concludes new business. Any main motions? Alright. Seeing nothing for executive session, we'll move into special orders and announcements. Any member of UMSG Inc. may address the General Student Senate for not more than 5 minutes. Senator Johnson.
Okay. Should I just pass them? I have, their client logs from Sean that I'm gonna pass around. That he just wanted everyone to see, and it talks about the specific, like, casework that he does, when he did it, what he was doing. These, like, on the usage report, say the type of case he worked on, but it doesn't give you any information about what he actually did, and all these are anonymized, but I'm just gonna pass them out and collect them.
No marking them up, no turning them
Yeah,
up.
please don't, yeah.
This is also just a regular occurrence, given that, like, we pay for him to be an attorney, so we might as well make sure that he's being an attorney. He's amazing, thank you, Sean.
And if there's anything you don't understand about what he wrote about, like, or what it is, or what it means, I can answer all of your.
While those are being passed down, people look at them, any other special orders and announcements, Senator Ricker?
Yeah, we get a round of applause for Jordan Thompson for the chief this past week. Was the chief this past week? Thank you.
Is this a regular thing now?
What?
Where you make up something and you stop.
do this?
For your achievement.
Thank you.
Well, what did you achieve this past week?
Oh.
I'm sure it is something.
Senator Johnson.
I'm leading tabling for the College Democrats tomorrow, and we have a petition that you can sign supporting a bill that is establishing a landlord registry in Maine. This is a bill with support on both sides, so I think I can mention it. So if you want accountability for your landlords and like a list where you can see what properties they own, come sign it and you'll get a fun free surprise.
But sign it as a student, not as a senator representative.
Correct.
Thank you. Any other special orders and announcements? Senator Jones?
There is a quick little poll dropped in the Senate chat by Senator Cowan, if anybody wants to vote whether we are going to Wells or Yamas tonight, and then depending on what wins, I would love to see you all there. Thank you.
Any other special orders and announcements? Representative Balea?
Some people may or may not be aware, I've been in the middle of changing my name. And it's now on enough of my legal papers that I'm actually telling people to go by it. So it's still gonna be Cass because Cass was not my legal name before. And now my full first name will be, Cass will be a nickname for it. But more importantly, for Senate, my last name is changing. So it will no longer be Representative Balea, it'll be Representative Bielik. BLYI. And so you'll probably hear that change come through officially soon, but yeah, mainly for those purposes.
Would you like student government to recognize those changes? Like I assume, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna, it's on like my social security number now, so I have to.
So I'll make sure those are changed for everybody. It's super exciting. Any other special orders and announcements? Senator Sparks.
For the whole Vincent chat, if you are hesitant to vote for off campus, you don't have a ride, fear not. 17,000 of us have cards. And you will get there one way or another and get back most likely.
Any other special orders and announcements, Senator Martin?
This is actually a question about the poll. Oh, wait, never mind.
I see that. Okay. Representative Demerson?
Building off Senator Sparks, I have a car and I don't mind people eating a ride. Just tell me right now or later, either or, just let me know and I could do that.
That's cool. Senator Jolin?
It's also $10 pasta night at Yamas, just saying, and it's.
Any other special orders and announcements? President Trick?
Okay, I have a few actual, I mean, those weren't non-actual announcements, sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, but I have some important things. Number one, 12 to 3 p.m. on April 5th, UMSG has once again been invited by the Esports Arena to participate in a live stream. This time, I'm not gonna do it first come, first serve. I mean, kind of, but I just want you to reach out if you're interested. We have a 3-hour spot, so I figured more people could engage than last time. I don't really know why we closed it. But it would also be fun for you to stop by and watch whatever we're playing. So let me know if you're interested in that. Again, I'm just gonna repeat because anybody can show up to that. I'm not gonna be sending the information out. I'll just keep reminding us of the thing. 12 to 3 p.m., April 5th, okay? Next, Student Leadership Awards are live. If you don't know, CSI and a few other organizations on campus give out awards. You can find nominations for that, I believe, on the CSI Instagram and website, I would imagine. If not, I will drop the link in the chat before I leave today. In addition to Student Leader Awards put on by the Center of Student Involvement, which you can all nominate each other for, I highly encourage you to do so. Student government also gives out 2 awards each year. Those awards are Senator of the Year and UMSG Emerging Leader. These have always kind of been, I think they started under Michael, or former President DeLorean maybe 2 years ago, when a medal was found in the office and then given to our now Vice President for getting Senator of the Year, which is a sore subject. But it has become a little bit more formal last year in terms of being part of the Student Leadership Awards, where you get an actual one of those glass fun awards. But what I would like to do is after this year and after we're done, they're chosen by the executive team. The executive team will be making those decisions tomorrow. But there is no official description or process for that. So I would love to begin a conversation about how we can actually make these a real thing each year. Maybe we have the Senate nominate. Maybe it's not just the execs. Open to those conversations. But for now, we're going to stick to what we're doing. So those will be announced at the Student Leadership Awards, which will be on April 15th at 6 p.m., which is a Tuesday. But fear not, our lovely Vice President has decided to cancel, I believe, our meeting on that night. So there really is no excuse for you not to go and support your fellow senators, but myself and Vice President Peterson will be presenting an award there. So yeah, that's kind of all of my special orders and announcements. But if you have any questions about that, let me know.
Yeah, that meeting is pretty much tentatively canceled. That's April 15th. That's because I believe the FEPC has also scheduled the inauguration ceremony to be that Thursday. And so the 2 weeks before that, we'll be doing budget stuff, and then the 2 weeks after that is just the 2 last meetings in Senate. So I figured we're already gonna be busy as student leaders, so we might as well. Any other special orders and announcements?
I also have a question for President Tripp. What games are being played? Is it gonna be Mario Party again?
So I haven't actually been told yet. We were just kind of given the invite. I would imagine that we probably get some say in that. So if you guys have ideas, that would be great. Raise your hand if you participated last time. Yeah. Great. It was a good time. We had fun. And in fact, I believe that while we were on, it was being the most viewed. So take that as you will. But yeah, hope to see you there.
Vice President Neiman.
Just again, if anybody comes to you and expresses that they cannot access the spring show through campus groups, send them to me so that way I can log them on.
Any other special orders and announcements? Senator Sparks?
On the sports thing, I have a contact in there and I requested them to play Mario Kart.
Ooh, yeah. And then we can get a lot of people play too.
Any other special orders and announcements? Seeing none, the clerk will call the final.
Ricker. Craig Everyone. Cynthia Shellard.
Excuse.
Ezekiel Delore.
Here.
Ryan St. Lawrence.
Here.
Dave Zhang. You spoke it was.
Huh?
Is he still there? Nate.
Okay.
Okay.